We'll start with Julie here. If you can
Yes.
kind of tell us what you brought with you.
Sure.
Say your last name because I just forgot it. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
What do we do?
Hello, my name is Julie Retrom. I am a faculty member at Ole Miss. I am a geologist. My background is micropaleontology and geochemistry. I really work on using fossils to help reconstruct paleoclimate. Currently, I'm working in the Middle East, though I am doing some work actually just across the border in western Alabama in some late Paleozoic Bangor limestone deposits. So that's kind of what I'm doing. What I brought, because I think that's way more cool for you guys, and you're please come up and look after everyone's talked. But I tried to bring some representative fossils from the different places in Mississippi that you can go and collect. I've got stuff from this area, Blue Springs. There's a really great crab locality. I've got a really nice crab for you, though I'm not exactly which type it is, but I've got it narrowed down to 2 thanks to some help. And so we can look at some of the local paleontology. Moses southern bones, shark's teeth I've got here, exogyra, big giant clams, oysters, other things. But then I also went up to northeast and western Alabama and brought you some late Paleozoic stuff. I've got lots of them, so if you want to take some home for your own collection, we can do that as well. And those are going to be Mississippian in age, so roughly around 300 million years old. Stuff around here is 66 million to about 90 million years old, roughly. And then I also brought some stuff down from near about an hour southeast of Jackson, Mississippi, some from the Oligocene, which is 33 million years ago, thank you. If you want to take a look at that, there's some sea biscuits, forams. If you're not familiar with forams, they're probably one of the most abundant fossils and things that you can find on beaches today. And also, not from Mississippi, but if you really like dinosaurs, I did bring some cut pieces of dinosaur bone from Utah. Everybody loves dinosaurs, right? And we do have some dinosaurs from the area. Not many, because this is all marine deposits. But if you want to take a look, and I've also brought one thing from probably the last couple million years, and that would be probably a Pleistocene horse tooth. So that's what I brought. I will let Kendall and Chris.
Spell your last name, please.
My last name, Retrom, R-E-T-R-U-M, as in Mary.
Thank you.
Hey, good morning. My name is Chris Rigo. I actually am not a geologist. I'm not a paleontologist. I am a 6th grade science teacher. But I've been lucky enough in the last several years to get to know George Phillips and build this relationship in my fossil knowledge. Because just like most of you, I found a cool fossil. I found a shark's tooth in Starkville, Mississippi. And I'm like, why is this here? So I got to dig in and research, and luckily I found George, and he's been a wealth of knowledge. But through that connection, I've actually reached out, branched outside of Mississippi, and I got to meet a lot of other people. So actually, currently, I mean, as of today, there are research crews here in the Albany, Ripley area, and they'll be headed south to Starkville, and they're studying the Cretaceous Paleogene Boundary. The extinction event that wiped out the dinosaurs, looking at an asteroid impact, the effect of the volcanism, the volcanic eruptions happening in India as the Himalayan mountains were building. They're looking at the chemistry, they're looking at what lived and what did not live. And so a couple of days ago, I was actually working with them in Ripley, and now we'll be working most of the time with them in Starkville. It's just too much of a drive back and forth to come up to Ripley. It's a 2-hour drive for me. But what's really interesting is studying what animals were present in the Cretaceous and then all of a sudden went extinct. You know, some of the things that you think about most normally are the large dinosaurs, the big fauna, you know, T-Rex and, you know, your big giant sauropods with their long necks. But we don't actually really think about the fish or the sharks or even the little tiny foraminiferans that Dr. Julie just mentioned. It's really interesting to look at. So a lot of what we're looking at are Ammonites, you know, all of these different stages of Ammonites right up to the Cretaceous boundary, and then all of a sudden, what happened? They died. And I don't know how much we know, but Mississippi is really unique. The asteroid that is responsible for at least part of the extinction event hit in southern Mexico, in the Gulf of Mexico, on the edge of the Gulf of Mexico. And what it caused was massive destruction, tidal waves, and, well, for lack of a better term, nuclear winter, you know, around the world. But in Morocco or some other far distant places, you don't see quite the same damage. You see the faunal changes, but you don't see the ground being ripped up and replaced that you do in Mississippi. So some of the places that we're looking at, we can actually see where chunks of the seafloor were ripped up in tsunami fashion and replaced and moved. We can actually see the debris that rained from the sky when this 10-kilometer wide asteroid hit the planet, and it rained down and collected in these deposits. So Mississippi and Alabama and parts of Georgia and Tennessee and Arkansas and Texas had this really incredible record of this entire event sequence. And we have research crews from University of New Mexico, San Jose State, Brooklyn College. The American Museum of Natural History has representatives here. There is a representative from, I don't remember his institution, but he's flew over here across the pond from the UK to study what we have in Mississippi as something that we might not know about, we just take for granted. We got some rocks in our yard, in our backyards, and our creeks. But people from around the world are coming to study the geology that we have here. And I think that's pretty neat. But I've got a little display. Me and Kendall, we collect a lot together. And we're fairly knowledgeable. We're not paleontologists. We're fairly knowledgeable about the things in our area, though. So if you do have any questions, come see us. But that's kind of what I do. I work with a lot of different folks from a lot of different places.
Tell us about how many sites there are in Union County that you're aware of when you can find that KP boundary.
Is Ripley Union County? No, that's Tifa, isn't it?
It's Tippah County.
In the New Albany area, I can think of one where it is exposed. I'm sure there are some others that we just don't know about yet. Probably in creeks that we just haven't explored. But there are a couple of sites, even here in the New Albany area, where you get this boundary layer from the dinosaur time to no dinosaurs. And you can see the event strata in place as it was laid down. And if we've seen these little maps lying around, if you look in the little green area here, this edge of this green and brown, as it runs through Pontotoc, Union, Tippah, through Chickasaw, Clay, up Tippah, that's your boundary. That's your Cretaceous boundary. So these little brown substrates in this area, or pink substrates here, that's everything that's non-Cretaceous. So you can see where that line lays, and you've got a property that kind of crosses that boundary. You may have something that's interesting. So that's pretty neat.
Thank you. Same thing.
Both of us, but go ahead, Rob.
Robert Smith.
I'm sorry. Hi, welcome. We enjoy having your presence here. It gives us an opportunity to show what we do. My name is Robert Lankford. I'm a registered professional geologist. in 4 states here in the Mid-South area. I work as an environmental geologist, doing assessments for contaminated sites and remediation of contaminated sites, mostly service stations and bulk plants. But I also have a very good interest in paleontology. So what I brought today is some of the fossils that can be found in the 20 Mile Creek area park. And I have a display board back to back that shows the different types of shark's teeth and other fossils that you can find at this site. I have a demonstration of how to identify the shark's teeth, pick it out of the coarse material, how to get the coarse material, and I also have some other displays, some including pictures, a book on Blanchard Springs Caverns over in Arkansas, which I helped map the underwater sections of that cavern system for the U.S. Forest Service back in the early 70s. So I'm very proud of that work. We spent 2 years on it, a lot of cold water, a lot of digging. Well, it didn't seem so at the time. But, I mean, we're in 15 feet of water, no airspace, 400 feet of rock on top of it. There's no way out other than that way or that way. So you just have to make sure you got enough air and you're safe in what you're doing. I think what else I have some reference materials with me, which I'll let you take photos so you can find them online. Things for Devonian, Silurian fossils, things for Cretaceous fossils. There's one really nice book on shark teeth identification, and all of that is available online. So you can download or purchase online the books and stuff related to it, which I have nothing to do with. I don't make any money off of it, but they're really good references, so I recommend them. So, sound enough? Good.
Tell us about what you have going on up at Frankstown at 20 Mile Creek.
Frankstown. Oh, okay. I forgot. I represent the North Mississippi Gem and Mineral Society as an outreach teaching arm of our club. And what I do at 20 Mile is I'll set up 3 times during the summer, 3rd Saturday at 10 o'clock to about 1 o'clock. I'll give a very brief geology setting discussion and how to collect the fossils down in the park. And when the kids have finished, when they come up for lunch, I'll help them identify their fossils and give them written names and stuff, and also provide them a list of reference books that they can find online to actually find their own identification. I'll have a display board or 2 set up so they can compare their fossils to the typeset that I have, and it makes it easier to identify the fossils.
Tell us what you can find at 20 Mile.
Thank you. This site is well known for shark's teeth, and there are at least 6 varieties of sharks that are fairly easy to find there. There are others there that are much harder to find. There are also dinosaur bones there. There's also mosasaur bones there. We found plesiosaur. Yeah, just leave mine down. It's not good. It's causing cholesterol. Plesiosaur. We also found hadrosaur teeth there. That's a duck-billed dinosaur. But the ones we're finding are baby teeth about that big. And I've got one on the board over there. For a long time, we didn't know what they were. And one day they showed us what an adult tooth like that looks like, and they said, oh, they're just like the small ones we're finding. So they apparently had a dead baby dinosaur that was there, and parts of pieces getting running around. So I have a question for you. What would you be doing if you were here 65 million years ago?
Swimming.
Heading for the surface, because it's about 150 feet of water here. It was pretty deep. And so, and we're right almost on the bottom of the ocean here. So, but you'd be swimming to the surface, and your next thing was to make sure that you're not lunch for somebody. And the third thing is you would try to figure out which way its shore is, and that's when you get to the surface, you realize it's 25, 30 miles that way, and there's no way to swim the shore.
South? North?
East.
East?
Yeah. Everything else is 100 miles north.
So toward Oxford, there probably wouldn't be any.
I just need the water.
It's
Watch out for the mosasaur.
That's right. Watch out for mosasaur. But not necessarily the glomadons. They eat shells. Okay? But they're a bit mosasaur. And I have some teeth of both varieties of mosasaur on the top right-hand corner over there, and they're very interesting looking teeth. So, please have a look at that. If you would like, please come over and I'll explain what's going on. I'll talk about placer deposits and how to find fossils in placer deposits. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
This big rock that struck off of Yucatan
Yes.
50 or
Chisholm
60 million years ago,
Yes, sir.
and it caused a big wave, tsunami, huge
Yes.
displacement of water and other materials up into here. What about how far did that strike? For example, did it get as far as the Eastern Mediterranean, Syria, Turkey?
Probably not
Probably
at
not.
that point, but it certainly swamped the continental United States. And a lot of it was already underwater anyway.
Yeah.
There's a seaway going up into the Canadian area, goes through Kansas, that was deep water.
What about Western Europe?
Western Europe, probably got it.
West coast of Africa?
Oh, yes, for sure. China,
How long has the barrier in the Mississippi area been known of and researched?
barrier.
The Cretaceous,
Oh, the Cretaceous layers.
Right.
Basically, from when they identified the Cretaceous, there was a Cretaceous period. All the
when
fossils are
it was
quite there.
identified here, when?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
It's been known
the-
about for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it was
it's been
couple
known
hundred
about
early.
for a long
Yeah,
time, okay.
yeah. As soon as they had defined the Cretaceous, they were already knowing that this was that. Any other? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert.
Who's next?
Kendall's gonna, talk just a minute here and
Guys, I'm really not, my name is Kendall Bullock. I do not have a degree in anything. I'm not even a school teacher. I did go to college for a minute or two. Then I went to the military. But I've always lived like someone else told me every time they grade the road, this young lady right there was an extra driver shell in my driveway. There was something here, something there. I grew up here in Union. The way I work, I collect so sporadically, like the KPTG crew. I was supposed to be with them 2 years in a row. I've been unable to go with them both times because of work conflicts. So I just collect when I can get. I might do something, hop off in the creek the other day, just exploring, and picked up a bone that I didn't know what it was, but it was too wet. It could have been plasticine, it could have been modern. Now that it's drying, I see it as modern. I also picked up a small exogyre. Just because it was there, because it was something from there. But I was not prepared to take any of that stuff with me, so I had to shove it in my pockets. So when y'all go fossil collecting, what do y'all take with y'all? Just whatever? Well, basically, to go fossil collecting, me personally, I always take bags. I got from gallon size all the way down to snack size. I always take water. The water is for two purposes. So when I get thirsty, I have something to drink. And two, if I find something that's real dirty and I need to look at it before I decide if I can keep it or not, I can pour just a couple of drops of water, which I did that with this man earlier when I was looking at his fossil. I said, y'all mind if I put some water on it? He said, no. So the bottle of water rubbed on it. Depending on where I'm going, I'll take a rock hammer. This is not my rock hammer. My sons keep sticking in my rock hammer, so I got a roofing hammer and I use it. It works just about as good around here. And I will take something to eat, and notice this one's wrapped in a plastic bag because when we were in Alabama last week, I forgot to take it out of my bag. But I didn't want to get contaminated with water, which my bottle of water's in there. And I've usually got 4 or 5 types of chisels. These are just the everyday garden variety. You can go get at Harbor Freight's where I got these from, actually. Thank you, Ms. Jill. And I got some pry bars to help pry stuff up that we have pried stuff up in Sparkle, have we not, Chris? And I always take anything I may need. This is something simple, but it's wrapped in plastic. It is my cleaning cloth for my glasses. My glasses have tin in them, so they tin up a lot. Chris has been with me times since I wore the wrong dang glasses. And I'll walk back to the truck and go get the glasses that don't tin up. But with that being said, what else do y'all think y'all would need to go on the fossil trip? I take a shovel. It don't matter if it's a flat or a spade or even a ditching shovel, whatever you want to take. I carry it for two purposes. One, I see when I carry a sieve sometimes, it can be just as something easy as a spaghetti strainer. Or it can be larger, more elaborate ones like we have, and Robert was building some over there that he uses in 20 miles.
Robert, hold up your, sieve that you
This
That's a small one.
It's a small one, this is like for kids. Then I'm working on a larger one, this size.
I have them all the way from 2 foot diameter, with the PVC started out, all the way down to, Chris actually made some last week when we went to a creek down in South Alabama. It was 18 by, what, 12?
18 by something like that.
Yeah, I've got some 10 by 10s, but you can buy some different cell systems, usually 1/4 inch, and then it's a fabric, like it's the string that goes in your screen windows and stuff like that. That works great to work with the same. But I always carry a shovel for two purposes. That I can dig with, two, it's my walking stick. If I'm in a creek and I hit a bad spot, or I need help going over something, I've got that shovel to help me. You're not carrying much weight and you use it to support yourself. I always carry the backpack, like I said, with water, something to eat. I'll take my cell phone and wrap it in a plastic bag. That way I've still got it and it's protected. And I'll do the same thing with my wallet and ID. Because you never know when something happens that you. I was on a canoe trip with a bunch of Boy Scouts. A man fell and hit his head. We happened up on him. He could not remember anything. His son was autistic. He couldn't really tell us a lot, and he happened to have his wallet, so we was able to contact who we needed to find out what we needed to do. Now, we have found several interesting things on trips when we've been. Now, I did not know that for some reason I must have been going somewhere. I have some coins in my bag. Chris was actually with us, and he started laughing. We've actually found coins when we've been out collecting. One of the gentlemen that's with us is, I would call him probably the next great shark tooth expert. He's in Georgia right now. He actually found a silver quarter. It was George Washington, I think it was 1940 something. But still, we found that in that creek. We have found things we can't talk about mixed company in there. But we find all types of things. So mainly, when you're collecting, always watch what you're looking for. Take a bottle of water with you to drink if you need something to eat. You can be out there a long time, take something just to help you get hydrated. An apple or a cucumber will help you stay hydrated. It will fill you too. Don't drink a lot of soda when you're out there. Wait till you get back to your car to you have to have a soda. The water serves as two purposes: to help wash off, if you're not agree with Julie, to help wash the fossil off in the dirt, plus it gives you something to drink on. And don't make your backpack 1,000 pounds, because we have toted out pieces of calcite out of at a KP boundary site that it oozed out of a creek. We toted them out in that backpack, and I had to climb up a straight creek, and I'd like to not got out. But it's part of the area where the KP boundary crew is going next week. But anyway, are there any more safety concerns or anything y'all think y'all might need to go collecting? Water, ID, phone, walking stick with your shovel.
Always tell somebody where you're going.
Exactly.
Watch out for snakes.
Watch out, the shovels also is not to kill the snake, but to guide the snake away or put it between you and the snake. I actually had to fight a groundhog one time. Had to put the shovel between me and the groundhog to walk around. In 20 Mile Creek, up one of the tributaries. So, I mean, they're for multiple purposes. When kids are with you, may have to use it as a straightening stick, if y'all know what I mean. But anyway, if there's anything, Chris or Miss Julie, because we've hunted with Miss Julie, I've hunted with Mr. Robert, Chris, Mr. Robert, and I'll probably hunt again. I do collect right now. Right now, I am personally collecting a lot in the Tom Bigby sands, just because I found a spot. I found another spot that may have potential for KP boundary. It's going to be in Pontotoc County, though, that they're opening up. And y'all don't realize how lucky Union County actually is, because things that have been found here, like George found that tooth a few years ago on the dinosaur. There has been a piece of there's been a piece of coral, branch coral that was found here. It is in Warsaw, Poland being studied. It was found about 10 years ago in Blue Springs. It's the oldest known, if not one of the first ever known branch corals. If y'all know what we're talking about, this Google branch corals, it looks like a tree with a coral coming off of it. Museum of Natural Science and History owns it, but it's in Poland being studied for a larger project. There's been some sea pens that's been found in, well, let me correct it. They call it a sea pen, but it's actually the cuttle bone off of like a squid that like a parrot would chew on. I think Robert may have a piece of it too, I'm not sure, but it was actually found in Blue Springs, and it's in Texas, no, it's in Kansas being studied somewhere. There's a Black Hill Institute, the man who owns the brother of that who got it. Plus, there's been another vertebra that they're indecisive on what it is. It was found in Eastern Union County, but they think it may be dinosaur too. They think it may be theropod, but the experts are arguing about it right now. So y'all just realize that Union County actually does have a lot of great things here as far as that goes, and a lot of people come to study. If you ever want to look at any of the literature that's been written on Blue Springs, Google L.A. Bishop, Blue Springs Cretaceous crabs. He's written about 8 or so papers on it. I believe Miss Jill's got most of the species represented around here from the original papers. I think they're out in the display case. But anyway, Miss Jill, we appreciate all you guys coming out.
I have a question.
Yes,
Uh, my knowledge of geography and so forth is really abundant. Where is 20 Mile Creek?
you know where Frankstown is?
Nope.
You know where the old Highway 30?
What county is it?
Prentice.
Where,
Prentice.
Okay.
Okay, but a lot of things you find in Frankstown are what they consider Tom Bigby sand. The Tom Bigby sand, coffee sand, excuse me, Tom Bigby sand is a little further worse. Coffee sand, Tupelo tongue. It actually runs from where I live in Tupelo now, back up through Prentice County and up into the edge of Corinth. But a lot of the same things you find there at Frankstown, you will find at Blue Springs. You will find very similar in Cowanville, and you've like a lot of the crabs that were found at Blue Springs were also found at Union County Lake and found in Cowanville, and they were found. There's been some found here. One of the few crabs from this area that eluded me was a Costa pluma, which was found over there at a dump site that Miss Jill and I spoke about earlier. That's overgrown now. Right going down 15, a lot of these echinoids, there's been echinoids found there that you can't find in other parts, or they're harder to find. But if you know where Highway 30 and 40, old 30 and 45 used to join, that you had the little town that's called Frankstown, right? Correct?
Okay. I didn't know the name of it.
Yes, sir. There's a little town there. Well, if you cross from 45 and you're coming up 45 and you cross over what will be old 30, there's a little sign that says Frankstown or Wheeler. If you start going down that hill, there's a little county road that turns back and it's got a monument site there, and that's actually that site. And you have to go down into the creek.
Yeah, that's Highway, County Highway 7450.
Yeah, which it's right off of 45. You cross over the bridge and you hang a hard
Yeah,
right.
just as soon as you pass the Prentice County line sign, it's gonna be on your right.
Now, it's a little further than that.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a little further than that.
Do
And
you
so-
ask permission to go?
There's 2 sites. Since we've gone that far, we'll go ahead and say there are 2 sites close to us, and I'll say here in Union County, that we can actively collect that the landowners should give permission. One is Blue Springs, which it's at the corner of 9 and 178. Close to it. We can actively collect there, the landowners give it permission. Okay? The other one is Frankstown. But when you walk so far into Frankstown, you have to stop because it becomes a different ownership. That's a whole other can of worms that it's going to open up. Because there's a spot in Union County, and for example, I can go one way on the creek all I want to. It's over around close to Bryce's Crossroad, it's in that area. But I can't go the other side because the creek does not hold water year round. You cannot float a boat down. So it becomes private property instead of public waters, like Little Tallahatchie, Kings Creek, all those hold water year round. You put a boat down it so you can go down it. If this is the property line, is the center of the creek, I have to get permission from this owner and this owner to hunt that creek. If the owner on this side says I can hunt it, I have to stay on this side. I cannot step over. That's legit because the property owners do that. But I can go back the other direction on that creek, and the property owner owns both sides. So I don't have to gain permission. That question was answered because of certain parts of 20 Mile, if you walk too far one way or the other, you walk into different ownership property. And there's spots of 20 Mile that I used to collect closer to Wheeler than I can no longer collect because they've been posted, because the land ownership changed down there. So y'all always remember that and say, because you can be trespassing too. Now, mine was going to be like a 3-minute talk, it's wound up to 15 minutes. Does anybody have any more questions? I guess this is the legal and safety aspect of collecting. Not you, Robert. I could call you home. No. Yes.
Blue Springs is also known for otoliths.
It is.
Paper.
There's actually a recent papers done on otoliths, which if you don't know what an otolith is, it is the fish ear bone, and actually is the most accurate way to age a fish. It looks just like a piece of chipped shell. Most of them do. They found several new species of fish from the otoliths there. Robert's correct. Otoliths, crabs, and there was some Ammonites, because I ain't gonna say them, but they found there, which they're on the next table. You know, there's some just like pieces of long amber cylinders. Those are squid bits. But Blue Springs, that's what they're known for. That and it was Union County Lake before it grew up. But you're right, Robert. The otolith, the eardrums, and there was another paper written on it recently that I haven't seen yet on Blue Springs. Any more questions? Answer your statements. Miss Julie is. If you know.
I'm better at Alabama. Sorry.
Anything else, guys?
But if you really want to know where to go fossil hunting in western Alabama for late Paleozoic, I'll come show you some really excellent and right off the road, easy to access, and open to the public.
That sounds like some great sites we'd like to know more about. If any of you are interested in virtual reality, we have a T-Rex in the next room that you can ride. Yep, it's true. You better sit down, though. Lobaki from Jackson has brought up their virtual reality, and they themed it for Fossil Roadshow. And WC is back there with the Gem and Mineral Society from Memphis with some great things. And we just thank y'all for coming today, and please enjoy everything in the museum. And if you've got any questions or objects you want to ID, well, we've got the experts here. Thank you.
You mentioned you worked in the Middle East. Where in the Middle East have you been?
I worked in the United Arab Emirates. I was out of Abu Dhabi. But really, a lot of the coastline of the Emirates, I worked in corals, and then a little bit on the Indian Ocean side, Gulf of Oman side, also working on corals.
I was amused by my own ignorance several minutes ago when you mentioned you're talking about the Middle East, and then you said Alabama, and I was trying to figure out what part of the Middle East Alabama was in, and it kind of is that.
Well, when I'm here, it's not, well, especially with COVID, there was no going to the Middle East to do research, so I have been working more in the Baker Limestone.
Been in Syria?
I have not. No, only Oman and the UAE are the two places that I've worked at. And really, because I've been working with corals over there, they don't have building materials. So what they did in the late 1800s, well, even going back even thousands of years, but more so recently, they would dive into the ocean, harvest corals as rocks, and then build their forts, walls out of coral and other rocks in the ocean.